moment, and I say, no, we need to break free. Now, it could be like FDR. He's just reluctant, and we'll have to push him, and that's fine.
And how will that pushing take place, do you think, with such tremendous passionate supporters of Barack Obama, who pushed him from the outside? Now that he is the state, how do people organize?
Well, we use, in many ways, his own words. He says that he wants a bottoms up. That's fine. We organize, we mobilize. We don't look simply for a top down. That the Clintonites have often been top down. It's the bottom up. We organize, we mobilize, we consolidate our organizations, and in the end, of course, we may have to take to the streets. That's how people's power is expressed, but it's expressed in a critical and, for me, in a loving way. I do still support Brother Barack Obama gaining access to the White House because he was the best that America could do at this particular moment in the midst of imperial occupation in Iraq, war in Afghanistan, financial Katrina, legacy of Katrina in New Orleans, wealth inequality, dilapidated housing in chocolate cities, disgraceful school systems, unacceptable levels of unemployment and underemployment, not enough access to health care for fellow citizens across race and region, not enough access to child care. At this moment, the best America could do was Brother Barack Obama. Liberal, centrist. Will he govern like a progressive Lincoln? Will he triangulate like Clinton? Will he be experimental like FDR? Those are the challenges. I hope he's a progressive Lincoln. I plan to be aspire to be the Frederick Douglasses against to put pressure on him.
Speaking about Frederick Douglass, the man who is enslaved, fought back, came north, became the leading abolitionist in this country.
The most eloquent ex-slave in the history of the world.
Let's talk about descendants of slaves. Now, Barack Obama was not, but Michelle Obama is. And seeing the two of them walk into the White House, Michelle Obama from the very university you're sitting in right now, where you teach, at Princeton University. Your thoughts of this, right? And her famous thesis that it's not as well known exactly what she wrote about, but doing a survey of Princeton alum about black Princeton alum, how their experience at Princeton separated them from, or asking the question, did it separate them from their own communities and how they felt? Your thoughts on that? And do you know Michelle Obama?
Oh, my God. We had a wonderful fundraiser for us. It's Michelle Obama. In fact, my dear sister, Marianne Rodriguez, and I set up the whole thing. It was magnificent. She gave a powerful speech. We had Marvin Bresley here, who was one of his thesis advisors. We didn't see Professor Wallace also worked with her. She is brilliant. She's charismatic, just like Brother Barack. She's a truth teller. She talked about the levels of alienation of black students at Princeton, but she also talked about the tremendous strength and fortitude and determination of black students to become multi-contextual, to be able to move from white context to black context and retain their sanity, dignity, and integrity. I have tremendous respect and love for Sister Michelle Obama, and I think that she is she's a force for good. She's a progressive voice within the Obama circle. And Barack was very, very wise and very lucky. He's full of grace, actually, to have such a wonderful wife, let alone the two precious, precious daughters that they have.
And seeing them walk into this house, the White House, a house that was actually built by slaves, as was the Capitol.
Yeah, and some white immigrants too. But you're absolutely right. I'm deeply moved by that. I tend not to be sentimental, but I do have a romantic streak, and it's a beautiful thing. Symbols do matter. I want substance, but symbols do matter. To think of the struggles and sacrifices of black people and progressive whites and browns and yellows and reds, to break the back of these vicious white supremacists' glass ceilings, and to have that first family, a black family, in the White House, that says something. We need more, but that says something. That's a moment to celebrate. Now, I did break dance that Tuesday night, but I'll come back a strong critic too.
Professor Cornel West, there's this discussion of the new generation of black leaders. A famous image on the night of the victory speech in Grant Park in Chicago when Barack Obama was giving his victory address was Jesse Jackson, the Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., weeping in the crowd. Now this discussion of a new generation of black leaders like Cory Booker, not like Al Sharpton, not like Jesse Jackson Sr. That's what the media says, not like them. What do you make of those distinctions?
Well, one is I'm always suspicious of white mainstream characterization and selection of black leadership. That's always a truncated affair. I think Brother Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. is a towering figure. I think he's been underappreciated. His contribution during the political ice age of Ronald Reagan is just world historical. He led significant, powerful movements, not just black people, multiracial people, the Rainbow Coalition, and so on. And we all have our criticisms of Brother Jesse, but he's a rhetorical genius, and he's been a tremendous force for justice in his own way. Similarly, Al Sharpton, somebody I also have a deep love and respect for, keeping track of white supremacist abuse and trying also to create various coalitions. But they come out of a tradition that focuses on black suffering and black resistance to suffering. They are black leaders. Barack Obama is not a black leader. He's an American leader who is black. That's a very different thing, and they're in different lanes, and we need to acknowledge different lanes that people have. Cory Booker is not a black leader. He is a mayor of Newark, New Jersey, who is black. He's my dear brother. I'm going to have dinner with him tonight. That we have different lanes. We have a maturation of leadership. You have a differentiation of leadership. We need to respect the various lanes that we have. And I try to be someone who mediates these different folk in the various lanes, and I've just got my Socratic prophetic lane. Unsettling questions raised, being willing to live and die for justice. That means that I'm concerned about black leadership. I'm concerned with American leaders who are black, American leaders who are white, American leaders who are brown, and so forth. But this is not a matter of just one type. And so when you get the New York Times and the Washington Post writing these truncated, emaciated stories about one form of black leadership replacing another form of black leadership, no. These are simultaneous forms of leadership in different lanes that are accenting various kinds of problems. We need NAACP to keep track of white supremacist abuse. That's different than Eric Holder, who is will be an attorney general of the American Democratic Project, who is black, who will relate to the NAACP, who will relate to ACLU, and so forth and so on. You see the point I'm making, Sister Amy?
Yes, and I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you about the legacy of Jeremiah Wright. Just recently, Black Students Association Northwestern held a big event for him. It was packed, and he spoke. He was disinvited from an award, was rescinded by Northwestern. They were going to give him the honorary doctorate of sacred theology. But where you think that has been left today, the whole attack on Jeremiah Wright and how Barack Obama dealt with it, from his speech on race to the ultimate speaking out against him after he spoke at the National Press Club?
Well, one, I have a very deep love for Brother Jeremiah Wright. Spoke at his retirement. I think that he's been completely misunderstood when he said, "God damn America for killing innocent people." Those of us who are religious like myself or Christian, I don't think there is a God worthy of worship who does not condemn injustice. So when any country kills innocent people, there is a divine condemnation, there's a divine critique there. That's true from Amos, that's true from Jesus, it's true for Buddha, it's true for Muhammad. So what I mean by that is that there's been lies told about the brother. It was more the style that he said it. We know that Martin Luther King Jr. was going to preach a sermon called America May Go to Hell. He didn't say America ought to go to hell. He didn't say America will go to hell. He said America may go to hell because he worshiped a God of justice. And in 1968, he saw too much injustice in America. He never lived to give that sermon. But the difference would have been, of course, that Martin would have said it with tears in his eyes, whereas Brother Jeremiah said it with a certain flippancy, and that's what Fox News picked up, and they end up demonizing the brother, and I think that's wrong. It was wrong to demonize Brother Jeremiah Wright. And of course, in the middle of a campaign, Barack had to distance himself from that. But I think there's a sense in which Brother Jeremiah Wright will be vindicated once much of the mendacity and lies are actually disclosed and you actually see what he is saying. There's a crucial role for prophetic voices in Judaism, the legacy of the great Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, in Buddhism, in Christianity, my own faith. Prophetic voices must be put forward, and there's always a tension between the quest for truth and the quest for power. They can overlap, they can converge, but there's always a tension. If you're telling the truth, whoever is in power or attempting to gain power is going to have a little distance from you. That's just the way things are.
We end, Professor Cornel West, with your explaining your title, In This Day and Age, in 2008. In this day, this month of the election of Barack Obama, Hope on a Tightrope.
Yes, America's hanging in the balance, state of emergency, sense of urgency. I'm a blues man in the life of the mind, a jazz man in the world of ideas, and the blues is an autobiographical chronicle of a personal catastrophe expressed lyrically and endured with grace and dignity. How do we deal with catastrophic circumstances of our children, catastrophic circumstances of our workers, catastrophic circumstances of our gay brothers